here do? Aha! Okay. Active thoughts. Altered dialogue options. Thought bonuses differ for research and completion. Substances can be administered during dialogue. Tools are context sensitive. Equip them before use. Time passes when picking new dialogue options. Read books to pass time quicker. Gain experience by completing tasks or by exploring. Leveling up grants you skill points. Use points to unlock skills or unlock or forget thoughts. White skill checks can be re-rolled. Explore options or level up to try again. Red skill checks are permanent. Alright. I know this has been here since the beginning. I don't think I've read it before in its entirety. So this is probably good for me to do at some point in this game. Alright, I think we can go ahead and continue. Oh, there's a help. That's cool. And a pause menu. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Jesse. Equip a flashlight in low light areas. This might be relevant given where we are and what's going on. In fact, let me do that real quick. Oh, it is on. Okay. I do have it out. I wasn't sure if I did or not. Hi, Dale. Oh, hello. Welcome. Welcome. All right. So we are... There we go. I didn't see the flashlight out earlier, and I was like, wait a minute. This isn't so... Oh, he put the flashlight away. Why did you put the flashlight away, buddy? Don't do that. That's how grooves get you. Alright, I'll let everybody know from the beginning of this, I have been wrestling more overtly with depression this week versus, I guess it's kind of been a passive thing for quite some time. But it's kind of, I don't know if it's gotten worse or what. It may just be that it's kind of become more noticeable, but I made it through an entire stream on Tuesday for Paper Mario, so I might be able to make it through an entire stream of this game, but if I have to tap out early, consider this your warning that it might happen. I'm gonna do my best. And this is a bit of a heavier game, so depending on how my brain is holding up, we may need to take a break. But that said, I will try my best. I will try my best. I'm gonna turn this pleasant... There we go. There's a piano. I knew there needed to be audio here that I couldn't hear. So before we dive into the game properly, I did want to address something that happened in last week's stream that was pointed out to me, and there was some discussion about it in the comments of last week's stream. Specifically, the issue of Ocelot covering himself in coal or marking himself with coal. For me, it's a little ambiguous about what that is, so I'm just picturing him like smearing some on his face like this. It occurred to me kind of a little belatedly that he uses the term war paint, which is kind of used commonly, but is rooted in a sort of exoticism. I don't know exactly what the right word would be, but it's a word that has been used since... I actually looked it up, but to use that in English goes back to books written kind of romanticizing Native people in a sort of dehumanizing way, adventure novels, and so it's kind of a... Like, it's commonly used. Like, people will say that... Like, women will talk about putting on their war paint as a way to describe their makeup, to prepare yourself to deal with whatever the world has in front of you. It's like putting on your armor. And that's what people mean most of the time when they say it, that it's preparing for something. But it's rooted in this idea of look at these others that paint their faces before they go to war. And so I haven't spoken to somebody with an Indigenous background about their feelings about this, so I don't know exactly how controversial this term is, but it is something that kind of makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Somebody mentioned in the comments that they thought that it was actually that Ocelot was putting on blackface. I don't think that's what's going on, because they use this other term that is racially insensitive. And I think that if they meant that, they would have not mixed it up with a different term that has to do with a different group of people. But either way, I'm not sure. I'm not really an expert on this sort of thing, and I just wanted to kind of acknowledge I guess, because I don't know how loaded that phrase is internationally. Okay, does it describe it as 3 stripes? Okay. Yeah, I was a little surprised when someone in the comments said that it sounded like it was blackface, because to me, I was under the impression that it was more going for the Indian style of things. And I don't know if that is as uncomfortable outside of the US as it is inside of the US. Because doing a racism gets kind of complicated when you're looking between parts of the world that may not fully understand the context or may have different contexts. But either way, I do want to apologize if watching my stream made somebody uncomfortable. Somebody pointed out that there are people of color streaming this who will point things like that out reliably, and that is true. That is kind of one of the reasons why we call it privilege. It's not something I firsthand had to deal with, so it's not something that I see every time that it's there. I do my best to try to be aware of these things, but things will slip over or slip past me sometimes. Sometimes I'll just overlook them. Sometimes I won't understand them. Sometimes I'll give people the benefit of the doubt because I can afford to do so, because I haven't been harmed by it. But regardless, I did want to kind of acknowledge that did happen in the game, and I did not respond to it in the game, and I don't necessarily have the full context to understand fully what that might mean to other people. But I will continue to do my best. But frankly, that's all we can do is our best, and sometimes that means we miss things. So apologies, and I will do my best going forward. Otherwise, I don't know that there's really much of anything that I need to go over before we dive on in. So I will go ahead and dive on in. This has otherwise been a very relatively comfortable part of the game to play through compared to some of the previous sections that we've been in. So for me, that was a really nice departure. Did I knock that over, or did Kim knock that over? Doesn't seem very Kim-like. Or could have just been background noise. Now I did take the thing out of the computer again because I don't want to leave it there, because somebody expressed concern that it might get taken by somebody who might want to pawn it. The thing is, it turns out that they're not actually spooky horror ruins. At least based on our actual interaction with the ruins themselves, as opposed to with what Plaisance said in advance. It hasn't actually seemed to be scary. in here. And so that's been nice. It's kind of had some nice kind of nerdy humor and spooky nerd ruins and some moments of characterization with her that I've enjoyed and I don't know. Yeah, like I thought it was going to be a little scarier than it's been. So it's looking like if this game is going to contain spooky horror things, if this game is going to contain supernatural elements, it's not right now. Maybe it'll be on the other side of this. Maybe when we go talk to that woman up the I don't remember how to get there, but we talked to a woman through the furnace. Maybe we will find a supernatural element there, but actually I haven't been through here, have I? The horrors of capitalism. That is true. And I'm sorry, I don't know about you, but I can tell right now I'm not speaking really well. I'm really stumbling over my words. So my apologies for that. I don't know if that's going to get better or not. Oh! My flashlight is going out? I don't like that. What? Don't put your flashlight away, buddy. This game had better not penalize me for being really slow here. Okay, there's things to observe. Okay. Yeah, because I hadn't been up here yet. Let's hope we don't fall to our death. What is this? Shoes and a puddle of melting snow. So somebody came through here recently. That's interesting. Oh, well, I can't do anything about the lag. Everything should be good on my end. I'm hardwired in. And keep your flashlight on, buddy. Jeez. Keep your flashlight on. What is this? A postcard. Alright, so from a meta perspective, I'm going to guess that the postcards are collectibles and I'm not going to be punished for taking them from places. Oh my gosh, I really don't like the flashlight going out. It wasn't doing that earlier. Oh, hold on, we have a thought. Does someone live here? He thinks. Okay, now I'm a little bit more nervous because my flashlight is turning off. Alright, well, Twitch is buggy tonight. My apologies for that. It's not much I can do at this point, sorry. Let's take a look at this postcard. The sunlight has made this postcard almost completely sepia-toned. Midtown traffic passes. Overhead, the ghosts of skyscrapers disappear into a beige midday mist, vapor rising from the delta on which the district was built. The postcard is prepaid. La Delta District. Okay. Yeah, maybe if we de-equip and re-equip it, we'll try that. To discover secret orbs in shady areas. Just gonna walk around here a bit. Now, 51, we are... What year are we again? Thought I took my ledger. Oh, wait. I'm gonna put my ledger back on. Okay, so it is this year. I thought that we were in 51, but then I wasn't 100% sure. Wait, hold on. Is that a can? Hold on. Can I pick that up? No, I can't. Okay, well, look, I had to try. Alright, let us go through here. It's interesting. Okay, so we've got this... Sorry, I'm really out of sorts tonight. It's interesting that we've got these boots here, which would indicate to me that there's like a door nearby, but there isn't. I like the creepy radio signal sound because radio is an important part of what was done here. This doesn't look like it's going to be very weight bearing, but we can give it a try. I can try to uncan every room. Oh! Oh, there's a person here. Was this the person I was speaking to? Looks like it might be. That looks like that might be the pipe going down. And so I wonder if this door would have been locked if I hadn't called down like that. This person looks like they're wearing headphones, so maybe that's why I had to be really loud. Well, this is interesting. All right. What have we got here? Hopefully a new friend. It's hard to say. Not quite sure what to expect. This tray is full of dice. Colorful polyhedral dice. Hundreds of them. Hey. Hey, hey, hey. Who here plays... No, I was trying to do a progress. I was intentionally trying to do a progress. I was trying to find the person at the top of the pipe. And I think that this might be that person. Either that or they're somewhere else. The plants here are really surprising. I guess if this is a furnace, if it works, then it might be warm enough in this room for plants to grow indoors. And there's definitely light, but... Oh man, I have dice. I need to get rid of my dice, though, because they're the dice that I played when I played in games with my ex. Many, many games. And so that's an association that I have. So I feel as though I should take my dice bag and my dice and give them to somebody who needs basic dice. Not cursed, just affiliated with memory that I would rather not hold on to myself. And give them to somebody else and then get a new dice set. But until I'm ready to actually play in a game, that's kind of seemed moot, you know? I have a few friends who make dice. And so if I wanted to, I could save up and buy like a nice special dice set that was just for me. But now it's funny, if I were to show you my dice, you would not be surprised. They're very Lauren, but I'd like to get others. Do they make electronic dice that roll at a button press? I don't think so. I mean, they probably do, but I don't know that people would necessarily use that because the randomization doesn't quite... There's something about randomization in digital form that is different than true randomization in the real world, and I don't quite understand it. But apparently it's not exactly the same, having a dice script versus rolling dice. I don't know. This is outside of my area of knowledge. I just know that I've been told that randomization is actually hard. So, anyway, I like D4s. I like to stack my dice. In hindsight, yeah, I've used dice bots on Discord because I've also played the game that I ran for a very long time. I ran over Discord, so we used a dice bot. Not Discord. No, it was actually over IRC back in the day. And by back in the day, I do mean like 7 or 8 years ago. But still, yeah, I used to spend a lot of time sorting my dice and stacking them in certain patterns and things like that over and over and over again throughout the entire time of playing in a game. In hindsight, maybe the ADHD diagnosis shouldn't have come as a big surprise, but you know. Hi, Winter. It's coming. I mean, it's coming. It's Disco Elysium. We are about to have an experience from the looks of it. I'm curious about this. I never feel like I know what to expect from anything in this game, really. I'm a little bit out of sorts today, and so I apologize to anyone who's tuning in. If I seem a little bit off kilter, you're not wrong. I am a little off kilter, but I'm going to push on and try to do my best. Let's see, what does this one say? The candy dispenser has been repurposed to contain thousands of dice. My goodness. Okay, hold on. It's nice, you can actually kind of see. So these were candy dispensers once upon a time? What else have we got here? There's a whole bunch of these things, so look at them. No. Ocelot. Ocelot, buddy, come here. See, there's several of these. You're facing the wrong way. Pal, turn around. Okay, there we go. Kim is approaching slowly. Kim? Kim is looking at the dice. Since it's been revealed that Kim might actually know some things about role-playing, maybe Kim knows this. Maybe Kim is like, ah, yes. They seem to have a tendency, like, because you can sometimes tell what system a person plays based on which dice they've got. Like, if they have a billion little d6s, they probably play Shadowrun. If they have a big selection of different dice, then they probably, well, they may play D&D proper. I think it's, if there's a lot of D4s, I think that is more likely to be a World of Darkness game. As I remember, it's been a very long time since I've played anything World of Darkness. Was not my first choice of setting, I'll tell you that. I think those are the only first-party systems that I have direct experience with. Most of the rest of my gaming experience has been with homebrew systems, and our homebrew system was built mostly with D6s and D4s, so that's what the majority of my dice collection is. World of Darkness is D10s. Okay, I couldn't remember, like I said. It's been close to 20 years since I played World of Darkness, so... Oh, interesting, a system that runs on D100s. Now, I'm used to a D100 basically being 2D20, or 2D10. One for the 1s and one for the 10s. And it'll even say... Oh, my internet. Did my internet just stutter? I am dropping frames. This is not just you folks. I just saw it did. Well, that's unfortunate. Sorry. Apparently both my computer and I are feeling bad right now. So, yay! Happy Disco Elysium Day. Well, this I saw on my end. So this was on my end. It's just the World of Darkness setting is not for me. It's a little too... jadedly cynical and self-satisfied in at least some of it, and it's too oppressively dark. Although I did help my sister put together, she bought one of those, you can get these like murder mystery birthday party it doesn't have to be a birthday party, but you can buy like murder mystery packs. Oh, thank you, Blues. And she had looked at a bunch of different ones, and one of the ones was very clearly, like, for example, Harry Potter with the serial numbers filed off. And she picked this other one, and she was talking to me about it, and some of the guests were vampires, and some of the guests were werewolves, and some of the guests were witches, and they were all trying to figure out how to stop, like, a moon from colliding with Earth or something like that. And they were all these, like, different, like, you know, which people, like, which group of vampires was this grand vampire from? And I like looked through this thing, and I was like, sister, dear sister, you have gotten yourself a World of Darkness with the serials filed off. Well done. She had never played it and was not directly familiar. She knew about Vampire the Masquerade because everybody knows of Vampire the Masquerade. So I was like, okay, this is Vampire the Masquerade plus the others in that same setting. And she was like, oh, okay. I was amused. It had been a long time, like I said, since I'd done anything with World of Darkness. But even I can still remember enough to be like, ah, yes, I see. We've got vampire, werewolf, and mage all in one. There might even have been some changeling, but anyway, shall we? I think that the internet is stable enough that I think we can go ahead and talk to this person, initiate a conversation, and see what happens. All right. So my guess is that the person who is up here is somebody who is affiliated with the role-playing company that did not last. Not only because they have 11 billion dice, which they seem to have, but also if you look, they seem to be drafting a art of some sort. If you look at this board, it seems like it's covered with possibly art or possibly like, I mean, these look like these might be lines collecting node or connecting nodes for various like story bits or something like that. But it appears that this is perhaps going to be one of our lost programmer types, which is interesting. Oh wait, actually, I think this looks like these might be computer bits. Like, I don't think they're supposed to be here. I don't think anyone's paying rent on this property, but aside from Plaisance probably, but this person is still here. Let us see who they are and what they are doing. Listening to music. From the looks of it, they've got headphones on. Sketching something out. I don't know, we'll find out. Let's find out. I'm curious. Normally I would look at this place and I would look at this situation and I would be like, oh, I'm probably gonna love this character. But this is Disco Elysium, and I cannot predict anything, and they have a very different approach to things and characters and stuff than I do, so meh. Let's find out.
Hello, I'm Neha.
A bird-like woman sits on a throne of tools with emerald light shining through her hair. Novelty Dicemaker. We can turn the music up a little bit if you want. A throne of tools. Now, they did not literally build a throne of tools for her, but it does give us an impression of how she must live. I like this song. It's pretty.
Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my milieus.
She taps on her headphones.
So what kind of dye are you looking for?
Do the nerds know that they can come in here and buy specialty magical one-of-a-kind dye? Okay. If you'll excuse me for a moment, I'm gonna be real dumb. Okay. If this were if this were a story or a setting with supernatural elements, having this pocket of bright color and plant life, despite the weather outside being miserable, cold April snowstorms, and the building that we're in dilapidated and dying, and not even remotely organic or alive in any way. And we come up here, and there is a woman who creates tools of fate. If this were a story with some element of magic, I would say this person has it in some way, in some capacity. You know, bespoke tools of fate, yes. You know? Because if you think about it, like, dice are not traditionally thought of as something that the fates use, but they are a way of determining what happens or doesn't happen. You could conceivably get the Dicemaker to make you a special set of dice to influence your fate. You know, it's a very... It could work. I'm just saying it could work. I don't know that I've seen anyone do it, but you could do it. And if that was the thing that they wanted to do, they could do it. In fact, they could be doing it right now. I don't know. I don't know know what it says about me as a person that I look at this setting, this location as we step in here, and there is this feeling of magic to it, and like having plants where plants shouldn't be is a pretty good sign. Of course, we could have a mundane explanation for all of this, but it feels like a pocket of magic. It feels like an unreality almost, you know? Maybe it's just me. No, I feel like dice determine your fate. Fate follows what your dice roll does, so that the dice choose what happens instead of reading it. That's like more like tarot, I suppose. But yeah, so that's kind of what if I wrote this story and this character showed up and she looked like this and this was happening, that's what I would be doing. I'm fairly sure that's not what they're doing, because I have yet to feel like, because it's not rhetoric. If it were rhetoric, we'd be on the same page. But I feel like on a like actual like plot level and character level, they don't do things. They don't think the same way I do. They think their own way. But for me, that's I had to say it. I had to put it out there because it drives me crazy, because that's what I would do, and that would be my magic realism, and it would be beautiful and magical and a moment of beauty and optimism and hope and life in this downtrodden world, and I would love it. But I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think that's what they're going for. If they are, though, I am gonna lose my mind.
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now.
Okay, I think nothing better illustrates, perhaps, the difference between this game and me, as I have just presented to you my inland empire, saying the entity... I didn't use the language because I forgot the words because I have no memory. This is the entity, the Dicemaker, who makes magical dice, and it's this beautiful magical thing, and there's plants and stuff. And then Ocelot's inland empire is like malicious entity. So we have our inland empires. They're not always... In fact, they're rarely in agreement. So I think that's, I don't know, yes. Words are hard, but I think you understand what I'm saying here, and I think that's funny.
She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Excuse you! I'm sitting here trying to think about magic and happy pretty times, and you want me to get back to reality? Okay, I can do that. All right. Oh, good, I can ask a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask this. I think I should be able to ask more questions, and I'm disappointed that I can't. Am I holding my... I'm holding my clipboard, right? I am holding my clipboard. Okay, good. Excellent. That I will be my truest self. All right. Hold on. What do you mean by milieus?
Yes, a milieu is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these.
She pats the headphones on the table. She looks sad and thoughtful. It's hard to read much else from the portraits because they're so stylized, you know? It's like a call-in station, two-way radio to access music.
Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking.
That's amazing. I really want to know what she listens to. I want to hear all about it. I love the idea of they teach you to swear in different languages. Like, that's so human. So human. You must have me confused with someone else. I haven't knocked on your window. Besides, aren't you on the second floor? That'd be awfully difficult. It's interesting to choose to have a window be open when it's so cold out. But I guess if the furnace comes through here, then that must provide enough heat that you have to open the window to make it bearable. I lived in an apartment like that for a couple of months. That was the roach-infested apartment, so I didn't stay very long. But also, like, the heat was full blast, and it was so bad. I had to put... And I read to make sure this was safe first. But because of the kind of heater it was safe. So I put a blanket around it to absorb the heat, so it didn't just blast everywhere. So I think that might be what's happening here. Alright, you must have me confused with someone else. I haven't knocked on your window.
Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind?
Oh, I'm sad that I don't have more questions. I did not knock on the door. I just yelled. I yelled into the thing, and I assume she answered. Maybe not, actually. This might be a different person altogether, now that I think about it. Why are you asking me about dice? So we'll move on. I want to be able to ask other things. Yes, what matters is that you're finally here is the sort of line that would lend... It would make it seem more... I'm sorry, I'm really failing at words. What I'm trying to say is that that kind of line feels more like it backs up or would be appropriate for her having something to do with fate. Because it's like, you're finally here. You've been trying to come here. Perhaps you were fated to be here. Perhaps I knew that you were coming. I don't know. It does kind of have this larger than normal feel to it. Oh God, I am failing so badly at words. Please don't try to make me rhetoric. I'm gonna fail at it. It's gonna be bad. Apologies. Why are you asking me about dice? Let's move on.
I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Alright.
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
So I can say, sure, I like role-playing games and I need some dice. Sure, we'll go with that. Or maybe. I'm not really sure why I'm here, honestly. Or, no, I was looking for something else. Squint your eyes mysteriously. Answers. Or, you can be no fun at all and say, I'm not interested in buying dice right now. I'm a police officer and I need to ask some questions. I'm sorry, Kim, but you are surrounded by inland empires and you're just gonna have to deal. Oh, man. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend with number one. I'm either going to talk to the fates and admit to the fates that I don't know why I'm here or what brought me here. I'm just kind of ambling lost through life and I need guidance, and maybe you could say something symbolic, metaphorical, and heavy that has me thinking and maybe helps guide me to find my place in the world. Like some kind of oracle. Or we could pick the melodramatic, dramatic answer that drama would approve of, my liege. And say I'm looking for something else. Answers. See, it's funny because I'm making fun of myself for being dramatic with my answer. Okay, the thing is, the game's probably not gonna think that number two is what I'm getting out of it. then I'm going to be like, well, if I had written this line, I would have been like that. So I was looking for something else. Answers. No. Like, these are the most interesting lines here. I think I have the possibility of being really interested in either of these or really disappointed by either of these. I mean, I'm obviously feeling this answer more, or this one more. Oh, I don't know. 2 or 3. 2 or 3. I'm sorry that I have to deliberate over literally everything, but I do. I'm not sure why I'm here, honestly. We're gonna go with that. And they're not gonna do with it what I would have done with it. But hopefully this won't cut off conversation with her.
How strange. Well, if you're interested, my rate is 10 real per set. Unless you want something really unusual.
10 real per set, okay.
Take a look around and see if there's any particular stone you want to use.
Oh! Does she carve them? Most Dicemaker that most dice makers that I know don't carve their dice out of stone. They cast them in resin. But resin is actually a highly toxic process. So you have to have a room that you can open the window even in the middle of winter. Which is a bit more challenging. So my friend in Toronto who makes dice doesn't generally make dice in the peak of the winter because it's too damn cold outside for her to open her window. Yes, I do know dice makers for real. One of my friends just restocked her dice like this week, in fact. She makes nice things. She gave me a D20 pendant for my birthday. It was very nice of her. But it's a like making a process. Oh, you know I can words sometimes. You've seen me do it before. The process of casting something in resin is both like chemically dangerous because of fumes and also really challenging, and you have to try to make sure that you don't have any bubbles in the resin before it sets, and you can put inclusions in like glitter or, you know, bones if you're goth, or little charms if you're maybe less goth, maybe not. They're really interesting. Hers tend to be, my friends tend to be sparkly, but I have had some friends who are more on the goth side of things. I don't know how they do it as far as the balance goes. They may be so lightweight, they're not like real. But how many die could a dice caster cast if a cast die could be die cast? Oh man, yeah. But if she's talking about stones here, then that makes me feel like, yeah, she's got precious stones and minerals. That's what I want. Did I ever tell you that I had like special interest level of obsession with rocks and minerals when I was a kid? There is a showdown going on right this instant. You can find on Twitter or Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky now, or like other places. You get to vote between stones. It just started recently. I showed up just in time that I could start voting for quartz. I don't know all of the stones that they have or the minerals that they have, but it's been very exciting. I think it's called like MinCon. Anyway, it's been delightful, and if you find these things interesting, you should also follow and vote for the most exciting mineral. What is that called? It is hold on. I gotta get this for you. This is really important stuff, okay? This is like what, like half of my stuff on the internet lately has been because I just really like gemstones mostly, but I like minerals, all minerals. Just gemstones are the coolest. It is Min Cup, the mineral cup. So Min Cup 23. If you look for that, you'll find it. The mineral cup, yes. I really like stuff. Yes, well, they had one that was called Vivianite, which I was obligated to vote for because of Vivian from Thousand Year Door. I really loved them. Unfortunately, if I'd actually wanted to go into geology of the sort that I loved, like, I would have wanted to be like a hands-on, let's go find the rocks person, like a rockhound flavor of geologist. And I have a phobia of caves. It's not impossible to be a rockhound, true rockhound, and not go into caves, but it's a problem. So, alas. Anyway, that is a tangent. And right now we have the Dicemaker of Fate creating dice out of precious stones and minerals, which is... Ooh, corundum! Okay, I'm sorry. I think I'm obligated to vote that. I don't know Lawsonite. I'll have to look into it. This is the most bestest of kinds of dice. They're really cheap for, and presumably they have to be so that you can buy them because rocks and minerals are more expensive than that. All right, continue.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shells like stalagmites.
Do they really put the emphasis on that syllable in British English? Stalagmite? Not stalagmite? Because if so, do they say stalactite instead of stalactite? I don't like that. But they're saying stalagmite. Like, he emphasized the first syllable, stalagmite, instead of stalagmite, which is what I'm used to. And it's stalactite with a C. Because it's on the ceiling. There's a stalagmite. It's on the ground, so it has a G. You're welcome. Yes, I have been using these mnemonic devices to remember stalagmite versus stalactite since I was a small child. I have lost my memory, but not that. Not that. Thank you, conceptualization. Okay, so that is the British way. Interesting. They pronounce it wrong. Damn it. Bye, Jesse. Have fun with your game.
This person means you, or no one else, absolutely no harm. She will answer freely and honestly.
Okay. Alright. Suggestion has decided that she is trustworthy. She seems trustworthy. How did you become a dice maker? Yes, please tell me all about you. I want to know all of it.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition.
How interesting. A jeweler becoming a dice maker.
Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there.
Alright, so let's see. Do you like role-playing games yourself?
Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
I can see that. There's a lot of really unpleasant, presumptuous people, but I think that they're less concentrated in tabletop than they are in video gaming.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items.
Much like the furries. No, if you're an artist of any sort and there's any way that you can make art that's anthropomorphic, like the furries are the best customers you could possibly ask for. They're polite, they're respectful, they pay well, and they tip. Like there's really not a complaint to be had at large. I unfortunately am not very good at anthros beyond like cat girls, which doesn't quite count. But I have done an occasional furry commission. So, and I've had enough friends who are artists to know about that. Fuzzy dice. Well, the thing that's nice about furries is that they might commission the smuttiest smut that ever smutted. But if you say, I don't draw smut, they're like, oh, okay. All right. Well, what do you like to draw? Okay, yeah, we'll do some of that. You know, it's nice. There are plenty of people who will try to push your boundaries, and that's part of the appeal for them. But in my experience, the furries have never been like that. I'm an appreciator of the furry fandom as a community. I think that they do a lot of things right. So, all right. Hello, communist bastard, and welcome. You are back in time for us to talk about dice. I will warn you, Lauren's brain is not working very well tonight, but I'm doing my best.
She's thankful for the security they provide her.
Okay. I'm gonna ask her information. Hey, where are we anyway? What is this place? Let's look around the room. So this used to be a candy shop, and then she turned it into a dice shop, I guess?
We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know.
She looks at the ruddy bricks that make up the walls. Even though they've been repainted, there are still signs of coal black soot here and there. So this is inside the chimney. Oh. I thought that this was the chimney pipe right here. But I don't really understand what constitutes chimney. You know? Like, I don't know. I'm from Texas. We don't have chimneys.
But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
So she has managed to outlive everyone else as her shop. I don't know what an industrial chimney means. Because this looks like a room and it has a window, and it seems unlikely to me that a chimney would have a window in it. But I don't know how these things work. And there's plants growing inside of it. I don't know. Is this a thing? Are there room-sized chimneys that have windows? Does that exist? I have no frame of reference for this. I'm from Texas. Well, but you wouldn't tear down part of the brick wall to put up a window this big if you're still using this room not as a chimney but like as a room, or if you're using this room as a chimney, and then if you stop using it as a chimney, I don't know. Maybe it's magical. Like, if it's solid, it works totally fine if we're not supposed to ask questions, or if it's just magical. So she doesn't have to pay rent, and that makes her the only one who can afford to stay here.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
I should. She'd probably have some insight into what's gone down around here. Perhaps the curse is just Everard.
Creative.
The lieutenant looks around the spacious room, its ceiling fading into shadows above. Man. Kim is impressed. I would even say Kim might be a little enchanted with this. I guess it's a bit punk, too. All right, let's see. I'm going to say, do you know what happens to the other tenants? Everyone else is gone.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
She adjusts the yellow scarf that covers her hair.
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Yes! Yes! Let me ask about absolutely everyone and everything. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. There used to be a hair salon here, right?
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
Ah. Yeah. You gotta know your audience.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad.
Conceptualization thinks that you should be comfortable enough in your gender to explore it and its boundaries. So I can say, what's wrong with a bit of experimenting? The customers should have been more open-minded. Or, I would never let anyone androgynous touch my hair, not even if my life depended on it. Or, I guess I'm a simple man. I don't really have any opinions on hairstyles. Well, I could get a boost for picking the middle of the road answer, but I am going to be open-minded and say other people should be open-minded. And I'm sure that there's some way that this could be interpreted badly, but I'm going to go with this. Customers should have been more open-minded.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet.
She tucks a strand of hair under the headscarf. What happened to the gym?
It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemiteps Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime.
And who is Artemitep?
A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back.
Maybe that's what Kuno needs. A community-centric boxing club.
Kuno. Who's Kuno?
He's sort of the king around here. Or, he's a little ginger gremlin who likes to defile dead bodies. Or, indeed, who is Kuno? Your guess is as good as mine. That's funny. Oh, her eyes are narrowing in the dim light, by the way. You should probably not do very close work like this in dim light. That's really bad for your eyesight. Okay, well... I feel like 2 is both accurate and something that Kuno would find. Kuno would be like, yeah, that's a good description. He would be pleased. So I'm going to pick that answer. Maybe that's the wrong answer. I don't know, but I'm going with it.
Oh yes, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth. Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard.
She looks out of the window. It's oddly quiet there at the moment. Amazing. Well, I'm glad that she knows who I'm talking about by context.
I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid.
So I can either say, how did that community project work out? Or, judging from the kids I've met so far, it didn't really work, did it? I think I'm going to take the open-minded answer instead of judging the kids that I've met. So we're going to go with, how did that community project work out?
It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It made things worse.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
It's like making fun of the people here. Like, your kids are going to be given drugs on Halloween. And it's like, do you know how much this cost, folks? Apparently a lot of money. Why would somebody just give that away like that? But suburban parents are going to continue to clutch their pearls and find more reasons to not allow their children to go out and interact with strangers or even neighbors who don't have to be strangers. If you just got to know them, then they wouldn't be strangers anymore. We can't trust them. It's very strange going back to my very, very suburban hometown, because when I was growing up, we knew like all of the families, not just on our street, but on the surrounding streets. And now like I go there and there's never any children playing in the front yards ever. And it feels like nobody knows anyone anymore, because a lot of the families that I knew have moved out, because the children my age have grown up and started their own families, and the parents no longer needed the full suburban house for just them after they retired. So they've moved into like more retirement friendly areas. And the families that live there now don't know each other, don't interact. And I'm not sure exactly cause and effect, like what is responsible for what. Is it that changes in culture have led to that, or is it that that has led to change in culture? Yeah, my mom, it's like a 7-minute walk from my mom's house to my sister's house, because my sister moved into my mom's neighborhood. And my mom is nervous about me walking through this extraordinarily safe suburban place at night, because she's got this perception that it's gotten more dangerous, and it hasn't. I looked it up because I was, initially my gut reaction was to be like, Mom, what? But I looked it up just to be sure, because we should always, challenge our gut reactions and look things up. Like, it's a good idea. And no, actually, it's not any more dangerous. In fact, it is less dangerous than it was when I was growing up. And it was pretty damn safe when I was growing up. But I go for walks. I'm going to be in Texas. Starting with the end of this month, I'm going to be in Texas for about a month. So I'm going to take one Thursday off because I will be flying to Texas. But then I will be streaming, because I now realize I have the ability to stream there. And I will be house sitting for my mom, so I won't have family commitments. So we should be able to continue doing this. But when I walk around, like I walk around Toronto all the time, and there's a ton of people walking around. But when I walk around there, I'm the only person walking, and everybody thinks it's like crazy and weird. And that's how I grew up, not walking to, like, you don't walk to the store, but you walk to your friend's house down the street. And that doesn't seem to be happening so much. And my mom doesn't watch true crime shows. It's just she hears what people say and what they talk about it. She hears from her scared friends who do watch the news, because she doesn't watch the news that much. She mostly watches like shows about cars and cooking and stuff like that. And it's really sad. Like, I have tried to get to know neighbors. And I've actually been living in my current apartment for 2 years now. And so I've been trying to organize building-wide get-togethers. I've done once, and I'm going to try another before the summer weather ends completely. But like, normally I like to bring cookies around when I move into a new neighborhood. You couldn't do that during peak COVID because people rightfully didn't know whether you would get them sick. But like, I don't know. I think it's really good to know your neighbors and to know the people around you. I don't know, how did I get on this tangent? Oh, we were talking about drugs and Halloween and the fact that kids in my hometown no longer go trick-or-treating. They either all started trick-or-treating just in the rich neighborhood, or they go to church and do church trick-or-treating. So that's interesting. And it's a gigantic suburb, part of the Dallas North suburbs. There's tons of suburbs around there. They're full of people. It's a whole thing, yeah. Yeah, so they'll be like, yeah, I got like 4 trick-or-treaters in one night. And it makes me sad. Because I remember doing Halloween. And it'd be one thing if it was because, like, you know, people have moved on and are doing something else, like, wonderful and new, but it largely seems to be coming from fear that's not founded in reality. And that I'm concerned about. So try to get to know your neighbors a little bit. If nothing else, it can keep you safer to know them. You can watch out for each other. And it can bring a little joy to your day to know your neighbor and say hello to your neighbor. Know your neighbor's dog, you know. You can ask your neighbor, can you watch this for me for a minute? Can you bring my mail in when I'm going to be out of town? Like, being able to lean on the people around you and know them is really nice. The fact that I get on the elevator and I know some of my neighbors now is really nice. Like, we're like a 15th floor building, so I don't know everybody. But I do know some people, and it's nice. And I know their dogs. If I don't know their names, I know their dogs. I think that that's healthy and good. And given that part of the reason why I had a little meltdown this week, I think is due to feeling isolated, I think we should probably aspire towards less isolation in our lives if we can help it.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since.
So it's really interesting to hear about this because a lot of times when you see troubled youth, you're like, they could use an after-school program. And after-school programs can make a big difference for a lot of people. Like, that's just kind of a tried and true solution, so to speak. And yet I can believe circumstances in which it would not make things better. But it is interesting because that's not what you expect. And usually I think the people who make things like that happen tend to have a certain degree of qualifications and a background that makes it so that they can get through to the kids and they can provide the kind of stable alternative that they're trying to. But that is interesting and sad that it made it worse instead of better. What's up with the broken windows?
Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right?
Oh, that's in the hallway. We've seen that.
Turns out the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milieus. Who would have guessed?
Excuse me? What? So, fun story. No, there are actually problems with connections, Kashi. There are, I don't know where you are, it may be different, but at least in the US, there is actually an epidemic of loneliness and isolation. So I think that you're responding to the idea of like, well, people aren't interacting with their neighbors and the people in their area, but they're actually finding friends online that are long distance. And that was kind of like what we used to say when we were young people on the internet and being like, no, it's actually a really good way able to find our people. But like it or not, a lot of people are struggling really hard, especially it's gotten astronomically worse, I think, in the aftermath of the like collective trauma of the pandemic and the lockdowns and the ongoing issues stemming from there. You have an epidemic of loneliness. And I don't know if it's maybe different where you live, but it's pretty widespread in the US and Canada. It's the only part of the world I can speak to, but it's bad. It's real bad. I'm obviously biased because I'm struggling with that terribly myself. But I also am talking a lot to people who are actively trying to find friends and connections. But even keeping up with people online is harder now than it used to, and people don't know why. We're struggling to keep in touch. It's harder and harder to keep up with messages. People are falling behind. Something's gone wrong. I think it's probably like widespread collective trauma has made it so that so much seems overwhelming. And if you're physically near your friends, then kind of you can fall into habits of running into each other and seeing each other, and that can be healing. But if you aren't, and all you do is talk to people online, then as you start to struggle, it becomes a harder and harder burden to pick up those conversations, and you feel worse and worse about the fact that you can't keep up with them, and then it just kind of becomes a spiraling mess. And I do think that part of it is that social media has made it so that we can no longer keep in touch with our friends, because social media is no longer interested in keeping us in touch with our friends. And so, for example, on Facebook, we can no longer see what our friends are saying, because rather than showing us their posts, Facebook wants to show us things that it can monetize. Things that'll get you angry, things that'll get you like clicking, but not just as simple as opening up your feed and reading what your friends have posted. There will be people that you love very much that Facebook decides you don't get to see. It's like what I was talking about with like my YouTube channel got kind of like shadow blacklisted in a way. Like you never see what that person is saying, so you either forget about them or you assume that everything's fine or whatever. The Surgeon General has issued a public statement about the loneliness epidemic. Like, yeah, no, it's a big problem. And I don't know. I mean, maybe we could say, yes, people are well connected, but like if people are feeling misery, if people are feeling loneliness, then like it doesn't matter whether they have more like pins on the wall that they can connect themselves to with threads. That's not loneliness or not loneliness. Like their feeling is what is loneliness or not. And I don't know what the solution is, and this is something I've been thinking really long and hard about. Sorry, I had another thing I was going to talk about, but I guess we're talking about this here. I know ostensibly there's a video game, but there is a crisis for a lot of people with loneliness, and I think a lot of it has to do with our online forms of communication breaking down. So you can't keep up with your friends over social media, which was a nice passive way of letting your friends, because I grew up on LiveJournal, and you can post what you're doing on your day in LiveJournal, and that way you post it, and all of your friends, when they have time, will check and see, and they'll know what you're up to, and then they can talk to you about it when they see you next. And so it's this nice, easy way of keeping informed about what your friends are doing. And when I had my breakdown in 2018 and I was physically isolated from friends and family because I moved across the country for a job that turned toxic and then fell apart and was going through some stuff, it was a really bad year for me. I poured out my heart and soul on Facebook because that was the only connection I had to my friends back home. And I was so depressed, it was really hard for me to pick up the phone and call them. But I could pour out my feelings on Facebook, and my friends who wanted to know how I was doing would tune in and see, like, how's Lauren doing? And they would say, oh, she's not doing well. They would reach out. They would sometimes send me care packages or call me up. And that was my lifeline. And it was exactly what I needed. And I don't know what I don't know what would have happened to me if I hadn't had that. But that is no longer an existing space. You can't use social media for that anymore. It does not provide that service. That's not what it's for. But there's also no replacement. And you're talking about the destruction of third spaces, public third spaces, outside of work, school, or home. There are not other places that people can just go to hang out. Like you can't. It used to be shopping malls. Like the teens could go to the shopping malls and they could just be dropped off there. It was a space that they could go and hang out with a bunch of their friends without having to be at someone's house. But a lot of those spaces have been shut down. A lot of those spaces will kick out teenagers and young people if they hang out, like they're vagrants or something like that. And so and also, yes, it's true that social media has started having more pressure rather than pouring your heart and soul out to your friends and like your update of what you're doing, like we maybe did as teenagers on LiveJournal. There's now this idea that you want to try to present a good self, present your success, and you see other people's successes and you feel like you're not doing enough. But there's not that personal reality, that connection that happens when you're able to bare your true soul to somebody else. And so there's all these different pieces. And am I an expert on this? No. If somebody has research that shows that actually this isn't true, and that's just subjectively what I feel, but not actually what the evidence indicates, that may very well be true, and I'll admit to being wrong in that case. But purely from speaking to many people, it really feels like it's a problem. And for me, it's kind of sapping my will to live. So I have personal stake in this being a problem. And I don't know what we can do about it, but there's got to be things we can do. And I'm going to try to figure out what I can do on my end. Obviously I want to try to fix things in my life, but what can I do or build that other people can also perhaps borrow and fix things a little bit in their lives? I don't know. But yeah. In the meantime, I hope that you all have some people that you can spend time with. I hope that you've got friends. Yeah, I tried making a little Discord server for some close friends, but it's hard to get people talking in it, you know? Two factors to alienation: when the home you inhabit is a home but you don't understand that, or the world you inhabit isn't a home but you think it is. I don't know. I have not. Starfield's not really the kind of game that I play, so I know folks who are having fun with it, and I'm happy for them. That's basically how I feel about a lot of games out there. But yeah, sorry to go on this big long tangent about isolation, but like I mentioned at the beginning of this stream that I've been dealing with depression in a real big way, and it's finally gotten to the point that it's like beginning to like impede my functionality. I guess maybe my physical health is getting well enough that my my mental health is able to hold me back. But this is at the heart of part of it, at least. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is going to be. I'm trying to make friends and trying to find groups and things to be part of, and trying to find a way to keep in better touch with the people that I have back home in Texas and things like that. We'll see. I guess we'll find out in 6 months' time if I've made any progress on that. Would I play Baldur's Gate 3? You know, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 are not games that I like, but I've had enough friends who've been having fun with 3, and I know it has multiplayer as an option, so I might play it with a friend if a friend wanted to play it. So maybe. Well, Dale, the thing is, I've been dealing with depression for several years, but over the past few months, my physical health has been so bad that I couldn't even feel depressed because I was just tired. So now that I'm no longer physically exhausted all the time, I think I'm better able to like actually address some of these feelings that have been lurking in the background. So that's my personal situation. Depression, I think, affects people in all sorts of circumstances. It's just that people get confused by it if somebody is depressed and they don't have external problems causing it. So, yeah. I don't know. Man, we have sure gotten off topic here, and I hope that's all right with everyone. I'll timestamp it. YouTube, you'll be fine. You can just skip this whole thing. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to my therapist on Friday. But there's a lot of fundamental cultural like challenges and things that are happening. A lot of them that have to do with capitalism. Yes, that is correct. There's a lot of things that are not conducive to healthy connections between people and allowing us to find security and stability and connect with other people. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to make some progress on fighting that. We should figure that out. Let's solve that and then go after world peace while we're at it. Yeah. No, funny story that I was going to tell. This is like in the funny that it's like not funny, but it's funny. Talking about snuff milieus. I had a couple of friends in college who were talking about, the snuff films you come across on the internet randomly. Everyone's seen one. And I was like, no, I have not. I don't even know where one would go on the internet where you would just kind of trip over something like that by accident. There are spaces in the internet where that happens, but I have never been there. And my friends just kind of looked at me like they were really confused about my life experiences, and I looked at them like I was horrified by their life experiences. Yeah, I don't think it's that normal or that common to have had that as an experience, but they were convinced everyone had. It's really something. Yes, some kids, not even kids, teens, whatever, but yeah, 4chan, I think maybe indirectly something awful, although I think that they might have been more careful about policing their content. But yeah, I definitely did know some people who spent time on 4chan and things like that, but yeah. And this was, early to mid 2000s, so that would be about the right time. Either way, that's not just like a casual thing that just kind of exists. It's actually really fucked up that it exists in the first place, and it's fucked up that it's put where people can find it, and that it's a thing, and that there's like a cottage industry for it, as you see with this woman talking about it. I don't know if anyone doesn't know what she presumably means by a snuff milieu, but using snuff in this context refers to like snuffing out a life. So actual real people dying. So a snuff film is a video in which a person on screen actually truly dies, not playing a character who dies, but the person who is on there actually loses their life. And it's really fucked up. So to be producing content like that is pretty fucked up. If it was a talk show about tobacco, I would be like, all right, I'm not a big fan of tobacco, but weighing out the badness here, I'm inclined to be like, that is less bad. Still not good though. Not a fan of tobacco. Not a fan.
What's the snuff milieu?
Well, encyclopedia is here to get to the bottom of this uncomfortable moment.
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway, and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own.
Yes or no? Does asking one here call for a content warning in the response? Okay. It looks like the consensus is no. Nothing worse than I've said myself. Okay. Because, simply stating what it is. I mean, we're playing Disco Elysium. I don't know that I would talk about the existence of snuff films while playing Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, but this game does have heavier content, so I hope it's all right that I just explained that. But given that the game brought it up first, it seemed relevant. I feel like I don't know, game wise, I don't know what the benefit or unbenefit, I'm not wordsing well enough to have the right word for that, of having this defined for me for Ocelot. If it would make things worse, if it would be, if it has any consequences, I don't know. Like, I really don't like the way that this is phrased. Like, this cool, very cool about the debris. Like, that just, it sounds so dismissive and hurtful, and I just don't like it. It's just yeah. Whereas, it's a shame about those windows. I'm not even going to ask about that milieu. Sorry, French is hard. I'm going to, and if you're going to talk about, like, other areas of conversation, please take that to the spoiler chat that they've got on Discord, if you don't mind. And come to a conclusion if you need to. If there are things that I need to be warned about, come to a consensus, especially if one of the mods can get in on that conversation. But I'm not going to ask about that. As interested as I might be personally as Lauren in knowing what she thinks and how she feels about that, I don't like the way that you ask that question, so I think I'm not going to. Then I'm going to say it's a shame about those windows. I'm not even going to ask.
Yeah, don't.
She looks down, then up again. Yeah, so she doesn't want to talk about it, which I don't blame her, and I'm not going to push her on. Did someone here make stuffed animals? I saw mounts lying around. By stuffed animals, they mean taxidermy. I got the word I wanted. Did you see me roll the dice? Trying to see if my vocabulary was going to function. Oh, brain. I hope it's not too unpleasant to watch a stream where my brain's not quite working right, but I'm doing my best.
You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs.
So it seems like a bunch of people really... a bunch of individual problems instead of a collective curse on the area.
Anything else?
A taxidermist just did drugs. I found creepy mannequins.
There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years until the insect rights activists came.
Insect rights activists. Both of these they appear to be two reactions that are basically the same. That might have the same exact response that they trigger, would be my guess. Insect rights activists? What in the name of... Or, I didn't know insects had any rights or activists. I'm gonna pick number 2. Well, no, I'll pick number 1. Sounds a little bit more like, what?
Mm-hmm. The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings.
Okay.
And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket.
Okay, so I think we determined that Occident was Western, just as Oriental is Eastern. So this is in the West. Political movements are big in the West. And then they had to go out of business because they could no longer afford the material that they needed for their collection.
And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in Kyton from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection.
I'm glad that someone took care of the little guys. I like insects, and you nod. But insects don't have any brains or feelings. Or, they got what they deserved. Making clothes out of beetle wings is a terrible idea. So this is not saying anything about the ethics of it and just saying that that's just a bad idea. This is taking an ethics. These are both taking ethical stances. I'm going to go with 2. Insects don't have any brains or feelings.
Actually, insects do have brains, but yes, I understand what you're saying. I think the protesters took it a little too far.
Is it true that they have brains, or is it that they have like a central nervous system with something that functions? They don't all have brains, as I understand it. I'm trying to remember. I used to know more about bugs than I do. I have retained less about bugs than I have about rocks, and I still don't have a ton about of rocks. They do have brains? Okay. Shows what I know. But without feelings. Okay. We dissected earthworms in school. I mostly remember the heart situation being complicated.
As she shifts around, you notice several dead flies on the windowsill in front of her. Legs up. They're not moving.
Okay. What are you trying to get across here? Perception? Yeah, I know earthworms are I guess there's bugs, and then they're not technically insects, but no, as I understand it, insects are the 6-legged creatures. Earthworms don't have legs. This was more of a related side comment about creepy crawlies and their anatomy. If that's all right to do. I have never dissected a beetle in science class, but we did dissect an earthworm. It was very interesting and not really my jam. I'm not a big fan of biology. I would rather not dissect anything in my life if I can help it. I'm just not a big biology person. All invertebrates are bugs. Yes. That's fair. Well, the thing is, like, there's a difference between an insect and a bug. Bug can be inclusive. Oh man, in school we had to dissect earthworms. We had to dissect a shark, a little shark. I was not a fan of that. That was 7th or 8th grade. It's not my favorite thing. Don't remember if we dissected frogs. Yes, but just like a small shark. I named her Sharkarella. If you have ever wondered, was I always like this? Yes. Yes, I was. Do I remember much else about Sharkarella? No, I was really not thrilled about the whole thing. My biggest contribution was Sharkarella, and I agreed to write and edit the essay after, or the write-up, whatever they call it in biology. It's not essays. They have names for it. Reports? I think they call them reports.
Anything else?
I don't know why I noticed dead flies on the windowsill in front of her. What's up with the rotor blades and skis?
They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money.
She rests her chin on her hand with an impish smile. My goodness. My goodness. Okay. So, human greed is why that one went down.
Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is.
So I can either say, interesting, what do these transmissions say? Or, that's illegal, running off with company's money like that. Why hasn't he been arrested? I'm really curious about the transmissions and what they say. Like, what is the deal with this? Oh, well, this had nothing to do with trying to make a kid's relationship to nature be unequal. It was meant to teach us to understand what we had in common with these creatures and to better understand the living world around us as something that could be known and understood. So that's at least the way it was handled in my school. The teacher who taught that course was very respectful of the living world around us. So because if you can say, you know, here's the way in which these creatures are different from us and here's the way in which these creatures are similar to us, it makes it so that you see animals around you as fellow living beings whose systems function in some way similarly to your own, as opposed to being some unknown, unidentified other that's beneath study, rather. All right. I'm curious what these transmissions say.
The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Oh, so he's still messaging the company as though the company is still here? Her smile widens before she sees the lieutenant's face behind you. What? What does Kim have to do with this?
Men like that are a curse.
The lieutenant is stern. So she thinks it's hilarious because this guy is pathetic and ridiculous and silly, and the whole thing is just ridiculous and silly. And Kim is not thrilled.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47.
Okay, so that was a few years ago. She's been here for a while. She doesn't seem that old.
I have no idea why those keys and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just props. Why return them?
Or return to them. That's a different meaning. Just props? Okay, so the guy made the company and then took the company's money and ran. And so why would he come back and do anything with it? He's already got what he needs. I found a strange machine.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She closes her eyes as some remnant of a memory lights up her face. Yeah, it is interesting that she's not directly affiliated with them. To have two game-specific businesses in one location. It's not the most plausible outside of the fact that this is a game that we're playing and it's made by people who have a great deal of affection for games. So...
She liked them.
I wonder if they were supportive of her and she was supportive of them and they bonded over that.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wiro.
They got into a fight about their world. A physical fight. That's nerds for you.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seem to be chronically liberal with their schedules.
What do you mean liberal? What happened?
The usual. They ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time.
This, I'm sure, coming out of experience. What went wrong?
Well, I did hear them talking at times.
She looks at the hallway as if she can still hear them chit-chat behind her curtains on a cigarette break.
They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
Okay, I wonder if it means, I suppose, historical. Hey, they were gonna do something grand and new and groundbreaking, and not that they were like, well, I don't know. So either, from what I've seen so far, the project did look quite impressive, or really, they must have been on a gigantic ego trip. Let's be positive about it. It seemed cool. From what I've seen so far, the project did look quite impressive.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on.
It's funny because it's both true and also a thing that people will blame something other than their own actions, even if their own actions did cause or at least significantly contribute to their problems. Things can simultaneously be true.
In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic and to show up to work on time.
I don't know that I believe really so much in willpower. I think there's something else going on there. But let's see. Showing up to work on time is incredibly hard. Or 2. That's too bad. I would have supported them. The project looked great. Or, you're right. They should have just tried harder. They had everything needed to succeed. We don't actually know that they did. Like, most likely, they did contribute in some way to their own downfall, but also circumstances outside of their control contributed to their downfall. I think that's frequently how these things go. I'm gonna go with, that's too bad. I would have supported them. The project looked great.
Not the wisest decision. You would have lost all your savings.
She tosses a pair of dice on the table. One of them stops near the edge of the metallic desk.
The dice is black and filled with little silvery flakes, like snowfall.
I don't know what the stone that would be.
Anything else?
There was a terrifying taxidermy bear in the cellar.
Oh boy, the fabled Revo Show ICT. You're in for a treat here.
Obsidian doesn't usually have inclusions. Alright. She smiles and leans closer, hands on her knees, like a stand-up comedian ready to tell a story. Oh boy.
The place was owned by 2 guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Oh my god. Alright, let's do this. Yes, obsidian is a naturally occurring volcanic glass. Yes. Quartz is fun because it can like coexist with anything. Be all sorts of colors. It can have inclusions. It can do whatever. It's really versatile. And also be like the most iconic looking crystal you could possibly imagine. I'm a fan of quartz. It's like the earthbender. It's ubiquitous and steady and dependable and common. Quartz can do whatever it wants. It's versatile, man. Alright, let's hear about the rest of their great marketing ideas. As a marketer, I'm curious.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
I can say, alright, what about the other ideas? Or I can say, I don't care about their other ideas. I just want to hear about the bear. Did the bear work? No, I'm going to ask about the other ideas because she wants to tell me and they might be funny.
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth.
That's an idea.
And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
She leans back, disapproving. Yeah, it turns out that beauty is not the same as charisma.
Sounds like she really didn't like those girls. Flute does the same thing.
Yes. There's the girl in Frita I mean, in her defense, she's a teenager and I'm a weird old guy. So I can say, I know a girl just like that. She works in Frita as a cashier and she's not particularly friendly. Or, what did they expect? 20 cents per hour is dog's pay. I'm surprised they showed up to work at all. Or, that's an award-winning idea. How else do you choose people around you? Or, I don't have an opinion on employing teens. I just want to know, did it work out for the business? Oh, man. Man. I actually don't know 20 cents per hour in this world, how little it is. I think I'll mention the Frite girl because reaction speed got me that and it might be interesting. We'll see. I don't know. I have no reason for some of these answers that I'm choosing. I'm just choosing them. I know a girl just like that. She works in Frita as a cashier and she's not particularly friendly.
Employing sulky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Ravishal ICT.
Ravishal ICT. Alright.
And they already had the bear.
She closes her eyes as if remembering something painful. What about the bear? Or I can say it didn't work out. What about the bear?
The bear.
She repeats, pressing thumbs into her temples, like trying to suppress a headache. It didn't work out?
Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted.
Amazing! These people sound like they were really excellent at this.
Eventually, Ravishal ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glacé 5000. Glacé 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges.
So I can say, it's the market doing its job. Or, I'm sure the bear was doing its best. Or, the bear was scary. Every time I saw that bear, I felt scared, like it could become alive any moment now. I'm gonna pick that answer. Cause I think that Ocelot is scared of the bear. And that seems like a fun answer.
The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. He called it Megatherion.
Oh my god. Alright. I'm pretty sure desiccants are not things you're supposed to get high on. But I guess then you see Megatherion, so maybe it works out in the end.
Sounds cool.
Thanks, conceptualization, you're helping.
Why is everyone doing drugs in this place? Even the taxidermist?
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that's a good question. There are some drugs being involved here. Megatherion.
Megatherion, a mega wild beast.
What's a mega wild beast? Oh, that was a failure. Yeah, okay. There's probably some other observation I could make about the fact that desiccants are a problem. But instead, the electrochemistry is just whining that it didn't get any drugs and everyone else does. What's a mega wild beast?
It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life
Okay.
by telling you to do more drugs, mostly.
I do not need one of those. Ocelot, do not get any ideas.
The horrific necktie tightens around your neck, strangely excited. But it doesn't feel particularly fun this time around.
Oh my god. So I can say, I don't do drugs. Or, I do drugs. I've got a vision beast myself. Or, I don't have a comment on drugs. Or you can grab your necktie and mumble, not now, you beast. Alright. Well. I don't do drugs. I'm working very hard to not do drugs. Probably gonna take psychic damage for lying. I don't do drugs. I am asserting this to myself as much as anyone else, and I feel like that is appropriate. Kim knows I'm trying to stay clean. I don't do drugs.
Very good. You shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all.
Psychic damage!
Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
She seems almost sad finishing the story. Some dust beams swirl in the afternoon air. Her eyes follow it idly. A whole day and a bit, that's fine. You start small. Everybody starts somewhere. He could keep that on his tracker. It starts off with days, then it does months. Then it gets to years, ideally. You know what I'm talking about? How many days sober? Maybe there's a better name for it than a tracker. I don't know. But I'm proud of you, Ocelot. You've done it. I'm not sure that I can continue to hold control. But as long as I can, I'm going to try my best. Alright.
Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time.
It's just like, if she looks to me like she's in her early 20s, maybe mid 20s. And so talking about things as though she's been here like 8 to 10 years, I'm like, are you that old? So, I don't know. It's also hard to tell from her voice and her face because she's painted, she's stylized, so. I found the building's intercom, but it's not working.
Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me.
She rubs her forehead. Her scarf has left a faint line on her dusky skin.
I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion.
You can fix them for everyone?
The doorbell with the empty name card must belong to her then.
Oh, I did see that. Oh, I hope I can ask all of these questions. So you're telling me that the doorbell with the empty name card was yours? Or I saw a name East Delta Pinball on the doorbell. Or a strange thing happened when I tried calling a company called Slipstream SCA. Someone answered. Or I have more questions about the building. I'm gonna say, so you're telling me that the doorbell with the empty name card was yours?
That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet.
But did it work before? Because it has these businesses on it? And you just never got around to setting it up before, even though you've been here for like 5 years or longer? I will not ask. I saw a name East Delta Pinball on the doorbell.
Right. It used to be a gaming arcade. This is an ancient failure, before my time. I'm not surprised, however.
Tell me about it.
My advice, don't base your business on a fad. Hypnotism, floriography, trick track, especially pinball.
Pinball was a trend that is no longer trendy, but it does have a niche appreciating audience. So they aren't ubiquitous, but you can still do pinball stuff. You just have to be smart about it and generally set it up with other arcade machines and hope for the best and maybe have a good business plan. Floriography sounds like I don't know if this is like the same as floral, like flowers, or if that's something else, but it's the study of, or the writing of flowers. That's graph, that's writing. Yeah, so the language of flowers would be what I would think it would mean. Which was actually a thing back in the day, so you could send flowers to somebody and have a secret communication that could be anything from "I'm secretly in love with you" to "I want you to die." Good times. I don't know what Trick Track is.
Agreed. Pinball is the worst.
Kim is here. Oh man. Why do you hate pinball so much, Kim? I thought you liked shiny. Do you like electronic things?
His disdain for pinball could not be clearer.
I want to know why he thinks so lowly of pinball. Alright, a strange thing happened when I tried calling a company named Slipstream SCA. Someone answered.
It can't be true. They don't work here anymore. They've been gone for years.
She looks like she doesn't really believe you.
Are you sure it was Slipstream SCA? Was it a woman? Maybe it was Plaisance from the bookstore.
First, it wasn't Plaisance. I know her and would have recognized her voice. Or, she said she was from Tricentennial Electrics. I want to pick both of these answers. Maybe it'll let me. Maybe it won't. It wasn't Plaisance. I'm going to say she said she was from Tricentennial Electrics.
Tricentennial Electrics?
There's a moment before she recognizes the name.
It used to be a major electric company 100 years ago. Are you sure it wasn't just some kids playing a prank on you?
That's interesting.
No, it was something else. It was eerie.
I can say, you're right, I probably just got made fun of, or no, it was something else, something eerie. Basically, literally say exactly what Inland Empire just said. Or it may have been some sort of rare electrical anomaly. No, I'm gonna go with the something eerie. We're gonna let Inland Empire out to play this one time.
Pranks can be eerie.
She looks as if she's still convinced it's nothing to be worried about.
Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. No solidarity.
Okay, that's cute. Alright. I have a few more questions about the building. Well, I guess I could pick the Plaisance
It can't
one.
be true. Are you sure it was Slipstream? Oh, right. But did this person say anything? Tricentennial.
Okay.
It used to be a...
No, it was something else. It was eerie.
Pranks can be eerie. Oh, the kids these days.
Sorry.
We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. No solidarity.
I guess I wanted to see what the Plaisance thing was, but I've committed to my other answer that I've given, so... I have a few more questions about the building.
Sure, I'm listening.
So I have questions at the intercom, or actually I had other questions.
Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
What do you know about the man who was lynched behind the whirling in rags?
Nothing really. I didn't know him.
Who cares about the dead body? Ask her about the curse already.
Shh, Inland Empire will get there in time.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook. Then the woman under the large window.
Kim is like, you have to have seen something.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window.
What do you mean by the daily ruckus?
Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard.
She stops to try and come up with an example.
During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
Okay.
She's not sorry to disappoint you. Informing on someone in a murder investigation would intrude upon a focused existence.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid.
She looks up at the window. Pale light comes in. So, and you never took your eyes off the work to look out your window? To look out the window?
I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
Right, because when it's dark out and there's probably condensation involved in the window.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
Yes.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone.
Do you often work Sunday nights?
It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
I feel like I'm missing something here, but that's all right. I see. Thank you for your answers.
She nods.
Anything else, officer?
I've heard this place is cursed. Did you know that people call it the doomed commercial area? Oh, I had actually a thing that I was going to do where I was going to like look at various synonyms for doomed commercial area, but I don't have them on hand right now. I did not prepare properly. I'm sorry. I don't have enough brain for that. No, she doesn't live here. It turns out she's not fully a squatter. This is where she works. She comes in every day to work somehow. And just walks past all of that mess to come in here, apparently.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true.
The wind howls in from the furnace shaft above. Wait, how do you explain what happened to all those companies then?
It's just capitalism. We only hear about tales of success, so it's often surprising to realize how many ventures actually fail.
I do think that that is a fair point. I mean, there's statistics, I think, on the number of restaurants that fail within their first couple of years, as I understand it. And, it's a lot. There's a lot of businesses that don't get off the ground. Plaisance is the one who sent me. She's convinced that the place is swarming with malicious energies.
Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow?
So I can either say, Plaisance is a wise woman. She has Seminese trinkets protecting her against the curse. Or, actually, the bookstore isn't doing that well. There are hardly any customers, and she has to exploit her own daughter to keep the company going. Or, the curse is just biding its time before it strikes again. Sooner or later, everyone will fail. Even her. Or, I don't know why the bookstore hasn't gone bankrupt yet. That's what I'm here to investigate. One fits like it's probably like an in-character choice. But I don't think I want to pick it. Sorry. 3, I'm not quite there yet. 2 feels... I mean, this woman likes gossip. That is apparent. She just gossiped everybody else's business. They're not here anymore, though. Whereas if I... saying she has to exploit her own daughter to keep the company going... I don't know that that's properly representing what was going on there. And it feels... I don't know. I would like to try to help them. And that doesn't feel like a very helpful thing to say. So I don't know why the bookstore hasn't gone bankrupt yet. That's why I'm here to investigate. I'm gonna go with 4. Sorry if that's not the answer you want me to pick. That's still the answer I'm gonna pick.
All right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex.
Thank you, Jeff Centaur. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate your support, friend. Hold on, the whirling is part of the doomed commercial area? Or, yes, but it's still a separate building. The malicious energies can't reach there. Or, no, the whirling isn't doing well either. Its waitress just took off, and customers have trouble paying bills. Or, you're right, the whirling doesn't really look like it's cursed. Oh, man. I don't have the same affection. Thing is, I don't know that that's accurate. But... man. The whirling is part of the doomed commercial area? Shock. I mean, I was curious about how these, because you can push, there's a whirling in rags button on the intercom. Yeah, I'm gonna ask with shocked confusion, even though I did notice that. Ocelot is the curse. Yes, he sure is.
You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Center project.
Yes, but it's still a separate building. The malicious energies can't reach there. Or I can say, no, it's not doing well either. Its waitress just took off and customers have trouble paying bills. I'm curious if Kim will call him on this. I do remember that the intercom lets you call the whirling because I don't think I pressed that button. I don't remember if I pressed the button or not, but I don't think I did because I think I was scared to annoy Garta. Let's go with 1, but it's still a separate building. The malicious energies can't reach there.
And then there is me.
She sighs, looking at her messy work table. All kinds of tools lie there scattered, from knives to carving files to wire cutters. Wire cutters? That's interesting.
I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
So I can say, Plaisance thinks it's because you're the source of it, a malignant entity. Or, it's because you're competent and dedicated to your craft. The curse doesn't affect people like you. Or, the curse will get to you, have no doubt about it. It just doesn't care about earthly time frames. Or, I'll be the first to admit there are many inconsistencies in this so-called curse. Man. Alright, if I believed actively that the answers that I picked influenced the way the world works, then I'd be like, okay, I can influence whether the curse exists or not. Which would be interesting. If you believe in the curse and it's gonna get you, and then it actually does get her, something happens during your time here. Oh, but if you say there is no curse and then she's fine, she keeps her business going. You know, I don't know. I don't know. The curse was in your heart all along. I mean, does that feel out of character? Because I don't think it does. I could see it. Alright. The curse will get to you. Have no doubt about it. No. Plaisance thinks it's because you're the source of it. A malignant entity. She doesn't know. It's funny because she knows who Plaisance is, but Plaisance doesn't seem to know who she is. Granted, Plaisance refuses to set foot back here. It's because you're competent and dedicated to your craft. The curse doesn't affect people like you.
What, so the curse only affects people with poor work ethics? What you're describing isn't a curse. It's capitalism.
That's funny.
Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Thank you for the Empire. Oh my god. Okay. The source, capital S. So I can say, I think it still might be you that's causing this. Narrow your eyes. Very mysteriously. Or, I'm starting to see that there is no curse, only business decisions and natural market fluctuations. Or, honestly, I'm still not sure. This world is a puzzling place. I have to actually come to a conclusion here. The helpful thing to do with Plaisance would be to say, turns out that they made some bad decisions, a whole bunch of bad decisions, or had bad luck. So you need to make good decisions and try to capitalize on the best luck that you can get your hands on. Just not what Plaisance wants to hear. But it does not seem like it is actually a curse. It does seem like it's business decisions and natural market fluctuations. Actually, business decisions and bad luck. Because the atelier, I think, that was bad luck. I'm trying to think if any of the rest of them were bad luck instead of bad decisions. Like, it's clear that the game design studio was really bad about not keeping on task. The ice cream people had really bad ideas about marketing. The gym was bad luck. Yeah. Taxidermist was a drug addict. That kind of counts as business decisions in that is internal locus of control. That's a thing that you as a person, as opposed to something external, like that is more of an internal problem rather than an external problem. Whereas the materials that you need have gone way up in price and nobody wants to wear that sort of thing anymore. The hair salon, I suppose that is external as well. Yeah. The bear is it's very cool. That's true. The bear is cool. Doing drugs at work is a bad business decision. The CEO ran off with all the money. I think I would count that as a business decision, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna say I'm still not sure. This world is a puzzling place. I'm gonna take the non-committal answer. But I don't think she's causing this. I don't think so. Maybe. It's a successful business decision for the guy who left the commercial area. Yeah. Fair. So the thing is, like, at this point, I'm not sure. This feels like this is a conclusion to the quest, you know? Man. Because, like, it doesn't feel like any one of these individual scenarios is a curse, but it is really interesting that all of them failed, except for the one that is not officially a business. Like, maybe she shouldn't put her name on the door, you know? Maybe she shouldn't put her name on the intercom. Maybe that's the problem. Right? You know? That's the thing. I'm gonna say I'm still not sure. This world is a puzzling place.
Is it now? I've always thought it's a rather mundane and boring place with no supernatural surprises in sight.
She squints at you from her desk.
Well, if you ever find a way to explain all those inconsistencies in the curse, let me know.
She turns back to her work.
Plaisance is not going to like what you have to tell her.
No, that's true. Wow. If I had picked other answers, I think this could have... I'm missing something here because because of my refusal to clown shoes. I'm pretty sure if I was willing to clown shoes on some of these. I would be able to do better on this. I don't know that it would make that much of a difference. But
I'm listening. I'm pretty sure it still doesn't work, but sure. What do you want to know?
Try this.
That's right. I haven't even written right. It used to be my advice.
Agreed.
His disdain for pinball could not.
It can't be. Are you sure it was Slipstream Tricentennial? It used to be a
No, it was something else. It was eerie.
May have been some sort of rare electrical anomaly.
A prank is more likely, no? Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them. And sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
I'm gonna leave for now. I have definitely not unlocked things. I don't have the money to, I don't think. I mean, I suppose I could try it, but... I guess we can look and see what she's got.
Oh, it's you again.
Let's see.
Are you? Of course. Tell me what you have in mind.
Do you have any cursed dice?
What do you mean by cursed?
As cursed as this commercial area. As cursed as my life. Abracadabra. Oh, it's supposed to be that's abracadabra, but presumably written in closer to, like, I guess that might be the original pronunciation before it got put into common usage English? Arabic? Oh, I guess that does kind of feel Arabic. Perished like this world. I don't know why he has this as an option. I don't know where this came from. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna pick it and see what she says.
All right. How about I surprise you? Come back in 8 hours with 7 real, and I'll give you your cursed die.
I need to think about it first.
Maybe you have some other ideas for dice?
Tell me about your most extraordinary.
A star that fell from the firmament? Those cost more than 7 real. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm a star myself. A superstar. And superstars don't care about money. No, I don't have that money. Star that fell from the firmament. That is such an interesting way of putting it. Well, I did just save.
Yes, you definitely have the proper attitude. How about a pair of 100-sided dice, made of ivory and inlaid with lodestone, a naturally occurring magnet, to complement your magnetic personality?
You don't have to make fun of me.
Pieces of lodestone were used as the first magnetic compasses, from which they derived their other name, coarse stones.
Thank you, Encyclopedia.
That's a stone for leaders.
Suggestion likes that.
10 real, and I can get these ready in 8 hours.
But do magnetic dice even roll properly?
It's true, magnetic dice are definitely different. When rolled together, the magnetic fields of the pips interact with each other to push and pull on each other as they're rolled, just like all magnetic personalities do.
I need to think about it first.
Maybe you have some other ideas for dice?
The whirl and tethered setting.
Ah, yes, Fortress Accident. It's too bad they never finished their game. The Whirl Untethered die is a variation of a standard role-playing die, only instead of plants it uses motives of ice and death, and loss of course.
Instead of plants, standard role-playing die uses plants. That's news to me.
Ice, death, loss. Sounds like you.
Thanks, conceptualization.
I'm thinking something made from alligator jawbone, cast in black resin. The reptile bone is as white as ice and dead as, well, death. For 7 real, I could have it ready in 8 hours.
What's a standard role-playing die?
It's an icositetrahedron, a 24-sided die that can produce results for 2-sided, 3-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided die with a single roll. Technically, you can also use it for many other sizes, but you may need to reroll results.
Okay. 24. I mean, I'm used to D20s being standard, but they apparently use their systems slightly differently.
Loving it. So nifty.
Logic approves. Why do you need to cast it in resin?
Untreated bone is porous and prone to chipping. Cast it in something hard like resin though, and voila, it's perfect.
Okay. I'm gonna maybe get a different one. Let's see what else there is.
Maybe you have some other ideas for dice?
I'm looking for something to help with my work.
I think I have just the right one for you.
She opens the top drawer of her work desk and takes something out. 2 polyhedrons, red and blue, are cradled in her palm.
Police colors.
Because I'm a police officer, right?
Not the most original, I know. But sometimes the obvious choice is obvious because it's best.
She smiles, almost apologizing.
Here, catch.
She
They're a gift from me.
She tosses you the dice.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it.
I can either totally overthink it or let them fall on the ground. I'm probably going to take psychic damage for trying and failing to catch them. I don't have any free hands, so totally overthinking it. Yeah, no, I do appreciate that that's like that contrast between logic saying don't overthink it and this saying you're overthinking it. That's great. Let's try it. We're going to fail. You ready to fail?
You overthink it. Your hands can't agree what to do, and the 2 dice drop to the floor and scatter in opposite directions, like pearls from a broken string. The blue one disappears down the pit in the center of the room.
Oh man. I could try again. My hand-eye coordination is not very good.
Ah, down the drain, like your career. I apologize, officer. That comment was unnecessary.
Pick up the red die. I could say I don't play fetch or leave the die on the floor, but I'm going to pick up the red one.
That one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay. The other one was the inverse. They were a set, you see, but now the set is broken. It's a shame. They might have brought you luck. You definitely need luck in Martinez.
Is she pitying you? Good God, she's pitying you.
Now, was there anything else?
I kind of want to try loading that again. Even though it would mean clicking through some of those other things again. I'm gonna try. We're gonna do it. I know this is relatively inconsequential and it probably doesn't mean anything, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Oh, it's you again. Of course. Tell me what you have in mind.
Oh, is it a lot? Here, let me make my own bad decisions. If I want help on how to do things better, I will ask.
I think I have
Police colors.
not the most original. Here,
okay.
catch. There.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift.
Let's try
Whatever
it.
you do, don't overthink it. You overthink it. Your hands can't agree.
Sorry. I want to try this again. I guess if it's a logic thing. Do I even have my logic hat on? I don't know that I do. Not hat, glasses. I don't know that I have anything that raises my logic. Yeah, I don't have anything that raises my logic right now. Yes, I'm shamelessly save scumming here. Oh, no, that adds to my logic. I don't think I have anything that lowers my logic. This improves my reaction speed though. I think, is that relevant? Was it reaction speed? No, it was hand-eye coordination. I don't have that. I don't have anything like that. Nope. We're gonna shamelessly save scum to try to get these dice. Sorry folks.
Oh, it's you again.
Of all the
Of
things
course. Tell me
for
what
me
you have in mind. I
to
think
do.
Police colors.
Not the monster. Here, catch.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it.
No! I want those dice. I don't think it actually is going to make a difference that we're doing it. I'm glad some of you did this too.
Oh, it's you again.
Alright.
Of course. Tell me
Alright.
what you have in mind. I think I have just...
Police colors.
Not the monster. Here, catch.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. You overthink it.
Yes, we're going to make the dice work for us. If this were a Toby Fox game, it would
Oh,
know.
it's you again. Of course.
It would
Tell
know.
me what you have. I think...
Police colors.
They would make fun of you.
Not the most
for it.
original, I know. Here, catch. There.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Mr. Smooth moves. You snatch the dice out of the air with one hand, just like you're in a movie.
First try. Absolutely. I appreciate your support, folks. But I have decided that I wanted those dice. For better or for worse. They might wind up even being a bad idea to have. But I wanted the dice. So we've got the dice. In my playthrough, I want to have those dice. So I can either wink at her or act like I've done this 1,000 times. I'm going to wink at her. Why not?
Oh, what are the odds? The red one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay, and the blue one is the inverse. I believe these dice are your lucky charm, officer.
She winked back at you. Can you believe it? You truly are Mr. Smooth Moves.
Very smooth. Look at the smooth man right here.
You definitely need luck in Martinez. Was there anything else?
I want to go back and do that. I want to ask some more questions of her. Sirens. These two 20-sided dice have the colors of a police alarm. Bloodstone for red and lapis lazuli for blue. If you roll them and squint your eyes, it looks like you're arriving on the scene. And it's raining! Note. Look at the map tab in journal to see which white checks have opened. It really is having a hard time here. There's a lot of ones that are legendary. Well, I don't know. Easier to do by scrolling? How? I don't have a mouse. I only have a touchpad. Let's see. Okay. Legendary. This one has medium. Possible medium. Challenging. I might go through and try some of these. Map wall. Challenging. Maybe I'll try some of these. Well. I don't want to report back to Plaisance yet. But I have like an almost non-existent chance of talking to this woman and getting this thing to happen. We're gonna save. I feel like I have just super failed at the conversation with her because that's only 8%. That's what that tells me anyway. I don't think I have anything to improve Shivers. Oh, I'm already wearing the thing that I have that improves Shivers. That's true, it's not a red check. Well, we can always try saving and then just do it and fail it and then come back and try it since we can try it again.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
Okay, if I don't get it, which I won't get because it's only 8% chance. Or is this a thing that... Is this the content warning concern? I mean, I'm probably not going to save scum something that's this low and also like this. Okay, no. Alright, then I'm just going to go ahead. Let's see how it fails. Okay.
A gust of cold air sweeps through the chimney. The stones and minerals on the shelves rattle as though agitated. For a moment, it almost feels as though you're outside the building, exposed to the atmosphere.
The fact that this follows me having save scummed the dice is completely absurd. I'm sorry. What? I had an 8% chance. I had an 8% chance. How did I get that? Literally on the first try. Oh, right, of course. I replaced my dice with the new dice. I have lucky dice now. Anyone who's played a tabletop game and had to you have to put dice in timeout sometimes. You know what I'm talking about. we get a little superstitious sometimes with our dice. The naughty dice, yes. Some people even have like a place where they'll put it other than just setting it aside. I was never that hardcore. Oh man. Okay. A gust of cold air sweeps through the chimney. The stones and minerals on the shelves rattle as though agitated. So I don't know that I know her name. I don't think she's told me her name. I don't think I'm supposed to get this without having gotten more information from her. But yeah, both of these say that it's real. Oh, she did tell me her name? Okay, I forgot it then. The curse is real and I figured out why it has spared you, or this is just a theory, but hear me out. I think I know why your business hasn't failed. I don't want to fuck it up now that I got a really special hard to get roll. Yeah, she's not going to respond well to the curse, but she'll respond better to this. Which I think I know your business hasn't failed. So let's try two. Let's see how this is.
Didn't we already talk about this?
She asks, as the wind continues to seep in through the cracks in the old chimney. So I can say, it's because you're not in the same building as the others. This isn't technically the doomed commercial area. Interesting.
What are you talking about? My address is exactly the same. Rue de Saint-Guelain 10.
I would not have pronounced that correctly. Guelain. So hard. Why is it so hard to speak other languages?
No, the old coal plant that used to be here was subsumed into the new venture. Its ruins swallowed up. Yet it has a different address in the heart of the city.
The city gave me the answer. See, like, the existence of Shivers is a supernatural element in its own way. Hello, please, just one. Welcome. You missed it. I just got an 8% check on the first try after save scumming for something else. So, so I can say, no, this used to be a coal plant. Touch the safety curtains. You're in the chimney of another building. That's really interesting.
This doesn't make any sense.
She looks around the makeshift nest that she has carved out for herself, bewildered. Huh. And there is no non-supernatural way for Ocelot to know this that I know of. Now, it is possible that he could just be aware of the city and aware of these things and just manage to piece things together. No, that's true. But, or it could just be that he has a gut feeling because the city itself speaks to him. Or it could be that that's how he... There's a word for it and I can't remember what that word is. But there's a way that you can... A thing happens that it itself is not something that's easily explainable. So you kind of overlay a different way of looking at it to help you articulate what it is. So the underlying element, it's like when people listen to their guts and their gut feeling. A lot of times they are actually picking up on things subconsciously that they're not consciously aware of. So they don't know necessarily, if you ask them, what have you noticed that feels off? They can't say, but on some very small level, they have picked up on separate things that have struck them as off. It's not just the wrongness of the universe is speaking to them. It's something, it's based in some sort of subconscious awareness. But then the way that they interpret it, the way that they describe it is that. And there's another word for like when you have to use the language of something else to explain what's going on. Similar to like if you're putting things in video game terms to describe something that's happening in your real life to try to make it clearer what you're saying. There's a word for that and I don't remember what that's called. So it could be that instead of a supernatural element, but it also could be a supernatural element. The way that it's described, as though you're standing outside looking at it, it's like you're looking at it from the city's point of view. It could very well be that. And my natural inclination is to say, yes, it is actually the spirit of the city connecting to you. However, the people who choose to disbelieve in the magic of things would say, well, you can still have this information. It still could be accessible to you outside of being told it supernaturally by the city. At this point in the game, it is ambiguous. We will see whether that ambiguity is ever clarified. Like I said, I tend to lean more in favor of the existence of magic in stories that open you up to the possibility because I just do. Let's see. She looks around the makeshift nest that she has carved out for herself, bewildered.
Are you saying my business was spared because of a technicality? Where is this coming from?
So I can either say, let's just say I have my own methods, unusual methods, or it has a different address in the heart of the city, which is a line. There's something kind of funny about when he, in his dialogue, says some of the things that his narration says, like when you have the option to repeat what your narration said, there's something really funny about that to me. I'm not quite sure why, but it's interesting. As soon as you entered, you commented that this didn't seem to be part of the same building and called it a pocket dimensions. You got the same shiver subconsciously. Maybe so. I don't remember saying that at all, but I will believe you because I don't remember anything. Yeah, no, the things speaking in his head, it does kind of reinforce that that is part of him. These are his own thoughts, and he's choosing to externalize some of his thoughts that he has just had in his head. It's very interesting. So you kind of wonder if we heard him speaking, would he sound like the narrator voice that we hear? I don't know. I don't know, man. So I can say, I'm just using logic. It's windy in here. You probably haven't properly sealed the chimney crown. And point up. I don't know if this is the first full Shivers check I've gotten. Yeah, visual calculus feels like it's... Like, visual calculus makes sense to me as part of the narrator's brain piecing things together and seeing how things could have gone. Yeah, I didn't recall making a Shivers roll. I know that I've gotten some behind-the-scenes Shivers rolls before, but not like this. So I got distracted. Thing is, I don't want to ruin things for her if there is a curse. I don't want to give her advice. Like if I say, you probably haven't properly sealed the chimney crown. Oh, using logic. It's windy. She's made it clear that she does not believe in magic, basically. And if you're talking to somebody who doesn't believe in magic and isn't going to believe in magic and you want them to accept what you have to say, then you have to find a way to explain magic in non-magical terms to make it acceptable. So it's just logical. I'm just using logic. And I don't know at this point which of these answers, like I feel like it's very precarious because I can't just load my safe and try this again because the likelihood of success is so low that I don't want to ruin it and feel miserable. But this is something that I can report back to Plaisance at least. She knows that I'm a weirdo. All you have to do is take one look at this man to know he's a weirdo, and it's not just how I've got him dressed. I like this. It is a different address in the heart of the city. Different address.
And what? Does it mean that I'm safe from failure?
Don't let her become complacent. She still needs to ward her soul against the evil forces.
Okay, Inland Empire. Whoa. Okay, so actually it's only your workshop that's protected. You should still do something to defend your person. Or, no one's ever really safe from the failure. Okay, do they mean from the failure or from failure? Because that's a really important distinction here. Because if he's saying from the failure, then he's talking about the curse. But if he's just saying no one's ever really safe from failure, that's just a life statement. That's just an observation. I can't just have a conversation like a normal person. If you think that real live Lauren doesn't constantly run a steady stream of trying to figure out what the best thing to say in any scenario to any person is with whatever factors I'm considering, like, I don't know how to have a conversation where you just speak. unless it's with somebody that I have such absolute comfort and faith that I can actually let myself down and not worry, like let myself be and not worry about consequences of what I say to them. But the number of people in the world that I feel that way towards, I can count on one hand. So no, I can't not overthink things. I, as a player, cannot. That's why I do this. It's not, this is externalizing what goes on in my head all the time. So to you, it may seem like it's specific to this game, but I promise you it's not. And it is, as an ex commented to me, sure seems exhausting to be you all the time. Yes. Yes, it is. And that's part of the problem with feeling isolated, is you kind of need to be able to relax and be yourself and not second guess things that you've said constantly. But why would you make fun of me for it? It's a trauma reaction. It's not something that I voluntarily picked up because I thought it was a good idea. It's a skill that I developed as a child to keep me safe in emotionally unsafe situations. And it has helped in some ways steer me away from additional trouble as an adult, but it also causes a lot of problems, one of which is that it makes it difficult to open up and feel comfortable and relaxed around even my close friends. Like, literally, it is the absolute closest of my close friends that I'm able to talk to without that happening. Like, it was 3 people, but one of them, I've kind of taken an emotional step back from my security in that relationship. So it's kind of 2.5 people right now. That's not a lot. It's not great. Yeah. All right. I'm not surprised if you do the same thing, if it arises from similar places. It can be an extremely useful skill, and I would love to get to the point where I could turn it off in my regular life, but use it when I need to be analytical about things, or if I need to proceed with caution, or when I'm playing a video game like this. And it's interesting to psychoanalyze things, but I'm not yet at the place where I can do that. I think I might have been a little bit better with it when I was in more secure and stable ground in other parts of my life, but these days I'm not there, so this is what we've got. Anyway, yeah. A worthy thing to bring up in a Disco Elysium stream, because that's how we roll. That's what we do around here. We talk about things like that. I don't know if you have seen my extremely slow way of going through things on YouTube, or if you are here for the first time and you stumbled in. But if you just stumbled in here without warning, let me warn you. I am slow. I overanalyze everything and I go off on tangents. Oh, man. All right. I don't know, Cashy. Let me think on that. And honestly, a lot of who we are as people is shaped by the experiences that we have in our life, and a lot of the experiences that have the biggest impact on us are our traumas, big or small. I've been reading some texts on this that are kind of like pop psychology, potentially. One I couldn't finish because it started getting a little too, like, woo-woo for me. But I did find The Body Keeps the Score to be very interesting and not woo-woo like the other one was. So I don't know how scientifically sound it is. It feels very convincing, especially because the author's like, I thought this thing seemed a little bit weird, and I'm not sure why it works, but it does seem like, based on observation and repeated experimentation, that it does work, even if we don't know why or how. So that makes me more likely to trust it. So the 4th playthrough, you can't even let the people finish talking. Man, okay, well, I will never finish talking, so it's only fair that I let the characters talk too, so there's a little bit of balance here. No, but The Body Keeps the Score is a really interesting book, and it has a lot to say about the way that trauma, both like big T trauma and little T trauma can shape us in ways that maybe we don't anticipate or don't understand necessarily until we really start interrogating that in the process of trying to heal. Yeah, I'd heard so much good about it, and I never thought it would be relevant to me because I was like, I didn't have like big T trauma, you know, as opposed to like some of the other friends who've recommended the book, who've had really profoundly terrible experiences. And my therapist is like, well, you know, you have had a few of those yourself. And I'm like, on the scale of things, no, but either way, it even reading the book, even if you don't have like big T trauma, like it does kind of show, like, especially if it's like secondhand trauma from somebody who, like, you know, if your parent did a really good job doing a lot of work trying to deal with their own trauma, but there might have been some of it that still crept through and got into you. It's doesn't necessarily mean you have to be somebody who's had like a lifetime movie tragedy in your upbringing, to still kind of be aware. I mean, everybody I think could probably stand to do a little house cleaning. House cleaning. I'm not sure which of those I'm trying to say here. But I don't know. I find the way that people work fascinating. I find people fascinating. I find myself fascinating. And I feel like I don't have an intuitive sense of the world around me, so I have had to work really hard at understanding it. But fortunately, I find people really, really interesting. So I have put in a lot of work, for better or for worse. Yeah, EMDR is one of those things that sounds ridiculous, but it does seem to work for people. So, and that's talked about in that book as well. So it's interesting stuff. Anyway, this is a tangent, tangent to a tangent to a tangent. Inland Empire wants me to make her ward her soul, but defending your person and defending your soul sound like different things. I'm gonna say no one's ever really safe from failure, maybe. Like, she might go ahead and reject whatever I say, although she hasn't rejected it as much as I thought she would till this point. And I don't know that the curse goes after people individually. It does seem like it, if the curse is real, it does seem like it harms people's businesses, but we don't necessarily know about personal crises happening to all of them, you know? So I don't know what something to defend your person would be. I should pick an answer. Sorry, the rhythm is with the music. I do really like this song. Okay, I have to pick something. I'm gonna pick something. I'm so sorry. I just blanked listening to the music and completely failed to pick something. It's been too many minutes. Okay, either it's only a workshop that's protected, you should do something to defend yourself, or no one's ever really safe from failure. She'll be like, well, then why am I safe? Why did you say I was safe from failure? Something to defend your person. We'll go with this. We'll go with a little bit of Inland Empire.
She starts laughing, her fingers trying to rub away the exhaustion from her face.
What? Do you know what this is?
She raises her hand to reveal a piece of metal shining on her index finger. Does she have a knife? Lucky charm, a 70s ward. It looks like a regular piece of jewelry to me, or I don't care what it is, it only came to warn you, to tell you about why you haven't failed yet. Piece of metal shining on her index finger. I don't know. Lucky charm? Yeah, we'll ask. Is it a lucky charm? Looks like a regular piece of jewelry to me. Yeah, I don't know what it is, so I will say that.
It's a mourning ring. I made this when my first company failed. It was a small jewelry shop right here in the East Delta Commerce Center, built with the little I inherited from my parents.
A mourning ring, okay.
I drove it into the ground within a year. I didn't have what you would call a viable business plan.
So I'll say, I can either say, see, the curse is real. I bet you didn't run this little jewelry shop from the protective depths of the chimney. Or, why are you telling me this? I'm going to go with, why are you telling me this?
It wasn't just a jewelry shop either. I always thought that it was just the world that you were supposed to try again and again until you finally succeed. And now you're telling me what? That it was all because I didn't run my little shops and ventures from a dump inside an abandoned chimney?
I'd say, don't call it a dump, you've made it nice and cozy here. Or, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, it's entropy. Or, yes, coincidence is all that safeguards us. I'm gonna say, don't call it a dump, you've made it nice and cozy here.
Yeah. Or maybe it's the entire world that's cursed. It's such a precarious place. Nothing ever works out the way you want it.
She stares out of the window, not really hearing your words. Oh, geez, I hope I didn't just crush this woman's spirit.
That's why people like role-playing games. You can be whoever you want to be, you can try again. Still, there is something inherently violent even about dice rolls.
I like the phrasing that I've heard people say, that the ultimate power fantasy is being able to make a difference for people. And that's something nice that RPGs let you do.
It's like every time you cast a die, something disappears. Some alternative ending or an entirely different world.
She picks up a pair of dice from the table and examines them under the light.
But anyway, thanks for sharing your theories, officer.
She gives you a tired smile. Precarious world. Okay, well, what a note to end on. The violence of rolling dice and discarding possibilities. Right? Right? I'm going to save again. I know I just saved, but I'm going to save again just to make sure that I've extra saved. Whew! Okay, there's something really beautiful about that. And very, very sad. Yeah, well, and it's not just that actions matter in video games. It's that you have power. You do have power in games, you know, or you wouldn't be a person in the game, unless the point of the game is that you don't have power. If you're doing something Papers, Please-esque, where they're trying to make a statement of sorts. And when I play tabletop games, I am the player who will always meddle. Shocking. I am the player who will always meddle in NPCs situations. I always want to know what's going on with them and get to the bottom of things. And you can. And it's nice. You can take somebody who's like broken and hopeless in the game. And a lot of times, especially if your GM's willing to work with you, like you can help them. You can fix things. You can make the world better. You can literally save the world from great evils, but you can also take somebody who needs help and get them the help that they need and see absolute positive outcomes. And a lot of times, you know, depending again on the game that you're playing and the GM and so on, it can be more complicated than that, where it's, you know, a bittersweet sort of thing. But it's a lot of times more. It allows you to feel more empowered than the real world does, and that's a power fantasy that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in being the biggest and toughest. I'm not interested in being able to kill the most dudes. or have all of the chicks want to sleep with me, or whatever the traditional definition of a power fantasy is. But the idea that I could go in and help everybody with their problems is really appealing. I don't know that you can really improve people's lives dramatically, consistently in Disco Elysium, but I know that you can improve some people's lives in some ways. Like, I feel like with Plaisance and her daughter, I, without a doubt, made their lives better. And that was a really wonderful and satisfying thing for me. And I want to do that in real life, but it's much harder to do. But I really enjoy doing it in games. And so part of the care that I take in talking to characters sometimes is I wonder, you know, do I have the ability to make things better for this person? If I pick the right answers, can I make their life better? And I want that. And that's not always, I think, what's on the table. But sometimes it is, and it's nice when it is. I like trying to do that. But yeah. Well, I think we've just about hit our time. I'm gonna have to concatenate videos because we had some technical difficulties with an internet disconnect. But I can try to get this up tomorrow as best I can. Thank you all for being here with me. I know I'm out of sorts today, and I had a really hard time with words, and I don't like that. But you've been patient with me, and hopefully next week will be a better brain week on that front. Yeah, this was really interesting, and I have to say the save scumming followed by the lucky dice roll. You can't make you can't script that kind of thing on a live stream. It's really fun. But yeah, I will say to everybody, because we had that big long chat before we go, we had that big long chat about loneliness and isolation. If you, like me, are struggling with that, try between now and next week's stream, try to reach out in 2 ways. Like, whether that's like calling one friend and going to one social event, or like sending a message to the group chat and attending a concert or something like that. Do something that helps you feel connected in some way. Just 2 things, not just 1. 2. You've got a week. And maybe report back to me and let me know how things have gone next week. And I will try to do the same. And I'm kind of in a pit right now, but I'm going to try to do it, and that's one of the ways out of the pit. So let's all try to do that together. Yes, that's your homework. Usually I'll make you come up with silly names, silly backronyms. But this time around, I have some real life homework for you. Let me know how it goes. Thank you for joining us, Noxterin and Please Just One. I think you are our 2 of our newer viewers. Welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, I'm always like this. Sometimes I'm a little bit better at thinking and speaking on my feet, but I'm always like this. Sorry, no, it's fine. It's fine. I just, I'm happy to have you folks here. And those of you who are here every week, especially those of you who keep crazy European hours and still come here every week, thank you. I appreciate your presence, and I hope that you do well. All right. Have a lovely week, folks. Do your homework and drink some water. And I'll see you next week, all right? Good night, everybody. Don't forget to follow me on the socials if you want to. Join the Discord if you want to. Bye.